ARM architecture has commanded mobile computing for over 2 decades, powering billions of smartphones, tablets, and embedded devices worldwide. Yet a challenger has emerged from the open-source community, RISC-V, an instruction set architecture that promises to democratize processor design. The question now facing the industry is whether this open standard can genuinely displace ARM's entrenched position in mobile computing. ARM's dominance stems from a carefully cultivated combination of technical excellence and business strategy. The architecture delivers exceptional power efficiency through its reduced instruction set computing philosophy, enabling processors to execute operations with minimal energy consumption. This characteristic proves essential for battery-powered mobile devices where every milliwatt matters. ARM Holdings licenses its designs to manufacturers rather than producing chips directly, creating a vast ecosystem of partners who have refined and optimized the architecture across countless implementations. The licensing model has generated substantial revenue while fostering innovation, as companies like Qualcomm, Apple, and Samsung develop custom ARM-based processors tailored to their specific requirements. Decades of software optimization have created a mature ecosystem where operating systems, compilers, and applications run with remarkable efficiency on ARM processors. This accumulated advantage represents a formidable barrier to any competing architecture. RISC-V enters this landscape with a fundamentally different proposition. Developed at the University of California, Berkeley, RISC-V offers a completely open instruction set architecture available under permissive licenses. Any organization can implement RISC-V processors without paying royalties or negotiating complex licensing agreements. The architecture embraces modularity, allowing designers to select only the instruction set extensions relevant to their applications, from basic integer operations to advanced vector processing capabilities. This flexibility enables unprecedented customization. A company designing processors for artificial intelligence workloads can incorporate specialized extensions without seeking permission or paying additional fees. The open nature eliminates vendor lock-in, granting organizations complete control over their processor roadmaps and implementations. For emerging markets and smaller companies, RISC-V removes the financial barriers associated with ARM licensing, potentially democratizing access to advanced processor technology. Technical comparisons between RISC-V and ARM reveal nuanced differences rather than clear superiority. Both architectures employ reduced instruction set computing principles, emphasizing simple instructions that execute quickly. RISC-V's instruction encoding demonstrates elegant simplicity, with a clean, orthogonal design that simplifies compiler development and processor implementation. ARM's architecture has evolved over decades, accumulating extensions and features that address real-world requirements but introduce complexity. Power efficiency, the critical metric for mobile computing, depends more on implementation quality than instruction set architecture. Well-designed processors based on either architecture can achieve excellent energy efficiency. The determining factors include manufacturing process technology, microarchitectural choices, and system-level optimization. RISC-V's modularity potentially enables more targeted designs that include only necessary features, reducing transistor count and power consumption. However, ARM's mature ecosystem has produced highly optimized implementations refined through years of iteration. The software ecosystem presents RISC-V's most significant challenge. ARM benefits from comprehensive toolchain support with mature compilers, debuggers, and development environments. Major operating systems including Android, iOS, Windows, and Linux have been extensively optimized for ARM processors. Application developers have created millions of programs compiled and tuned for ARM architecture. Building equivalent software infrastructure for RISC-V requires substantial time and investment. Progress in this domain has been encouraging. The RISC-V software ecosystem has grown rapidly, with major compiler projects including GCC and LLVM providing robust support. Linux distributions run on RISC-V processors, and the Android open source project has begun incorporating RISC-V support. However, achieving parity with ARM's decades of optimization remains a distant goal. Performance-critical applications often rely on architecture-specific optimizations that must be recreated for RISC-V. Industry adoption reveals RISC-V's growing momentum alongside persistent challenges. The architecture has gained traction in embedded systems, microcontrollers, and specialized applications where customization provides clear advantages. Companies developing artificial intelligence accelerators and Internet of Things devices have embraced RISC-V for its flexibility and cost benefits. Western Digital committed to transitioning its controller processors to RISC-V, representing billions of units annually. In mobile computing specifically, adoption remains limited. No major smartphone manufacturer has announced plans to replace ARM processors with RISC-V alternatives. The technical challenges extend beyond processor design to encompass system-on-chip integration, power management, cellular modems, and graphics processors. ARM's ecosystem includes not just the central processing unit but comprehensive intellectual property portfolios covering these essential components. Replicating this integration with RISC-V requires coordinated development across multiple domains. China's semiconductor industry has shown particular interest in RISC-V as geopolitical tensions raise concerns about technology independence. Chinese companies view the open architecture as a path toward reducing dependence on foreign technology licenses. This strategic motivation has accelerated RISC-V development and deployment in the region, potentially creating a parallel ecosystem that could eventually influence global markets. The performance gap between current RISC-V implementations and leading ARM processors remains substantial. Apple's M-series and A-series processors, based on ARM architecture, deliver exceptional performance through custom microarchitectures and advanced manufacturing processes. Qualcomm's Snapdragon processors similarly represent years of optimization and integration. RISC-V implementations have not yet demonstrated comparable capabilities in mobile computing contexts, though the architecture itself imposes no fundamental limitations. Closing this gap requires not just processor design expertise but also investments in manufacturing partnerships, system integration, and software optimization. The companies currently dominating ARM-based mobile processors possess these capabilities through years of development. New entrants using RISC-V must either build equivalent expertise or find alternative approaches that leverage the architecture's unique advantages. The open-source nature of RISC-V enables collaborative development that could accelerate progress. Multiple organizations contribute to improving the architecture, developing tools, and sharing implementations. This collective effort contrasts with ARM's centralized development model, potentially enabling faster innovation in specific domains. However, fragmentation poses risks, as different implementations may introduce incompatibilities that undermine the ecosystem's coherence. Standardization efforts within the RISC-V International Organization aim to prevent fragmentation while preserving flexibility. Profiles define standard configurations for specific application domains, ensuring compatibility while allowing customization. These profiles could enable a mobile computing ecosystem where different RISC-V processors maintain software compatibility despite implementation differences. The economic implications of widespread RISC-V adoption extend beyond licensing fees. Reduced barriers to entry could foster increased competition in processor design, potentially driving innovation and reducing costs. Smaller companies and academic institutions could contribute novel designs without prohibitive licensing expenses. This democratization might accelerate development of specialized processors optimized for emerging applications like edge computing and machine learning. However, ARM's licensing revenue funds ongoing research and development that has driven architectural improvements. A transition to royalty-free RISC-V could alter innovation incentives, potentially slowing advancement in certain areas. The optimal outcome might involve coexistence, with RISC-V serving applications where customization and cost matter most, while ARM maintains positions in markets valuing mature ecosystems and proven performance. The timeline for potential RISC-V adoption in mobile computing extends across years, if not decades. Displacing an entrenched architecture requires not just technical parity, but compelling advantages that justify transition costs. Manufacturers must redesign systems, developers must optimize software, and consumers must accept new platforms. These changes occur gradually, driven by clear benefits rather than architectural philosophy alone. RISC-V's path to mobile computing relevance likely involves incremental adoption rather than wholesale replacement. The architecture may first appear in specialized components within mobile devices, such as sensor processors, security modules, or power management controllers. Success in these roles could build expertise and confidence, enabling expansion into more critical functions. Eventually, RISC-V processors might power complete mobile systems, but this outcome depends on sustained development and strategic investments. The question of whether RISC-V can replace ARM's mobile computing dominance admits no simple answer. The open architecture possesses genuine advantages in customization, cost, and accessibility that address real industry needs. Technical capabilities do not fundamentally limit RISC-V's potential in mobile applications. However, ARM's entrenched ecosystem, mature software support, and proven performance create formidable barriers that cannot be overcome quickly or easily. RISC-V represents a credible, long-term alternative rather than an imminent replacement. The architecture's success will depend on sustained community development, strategic industry adoption, and patient investment in ecosystem building. Mobile computing may ultimately support multiple architectures serving different needs and markets, with RISC-V claiming niches where its unique characteristics provide decisive advantages. Complete displacement of ARM appears unlikely in the foreseeable future, but RISC-V's growing presence will undoubtedly influence the competitive landscape and drive innovation across the industry.